Pro Group Management. Workers' comp that works for you.
This is a special edition of Nevada Newsmakers with host Sam Shad, a no-holds-barred political forum. Now, from the Nevada Newsmakers broadcast headquarters, here is Sam Shad.
And welcome to the program. We welcome to the program, I'm very proud to have him here, United States Senator Harry Reid. Always a pleasure to have you here, Senator.
Thank you very much.
Let's dive right into it. Social Security, the president wants to make these private accounts available. You say do nothing.
Well, I'm not saying do nothing. I'm saying that privatization, it makes the program much worse. It would automatically have to cut benefits by as much as 40%. You would run up a debt as up to $2 trillion. And it hasn't worked in England, hasn't worked in Chile, the two places they've tried it. Why would we want to do that to a program that works extremely well?
How would benefits be cut by 40%?
Pardon me?
How would benefits be cut by 40%?
Well, I mean, if you're going to, first of all, you're talking about a $2 trillion program over the next 3 or 4 years, and then over 10 years, it's $10 trillion. I mean, something's got to give. You can't keep giving everything you did before. Even Bush acknowledges his privatization plan doesn't strengthen Social Security.
But you acknowledge that Social Security in the middle of the century will start to run into funding problems. What
Sam,
steps
we
should
have
we
a
take?
lot of problems in the middle of the century. Why, this isn't a crisis. This is,
No,
this
and
is
I agree with you,
an
Sam.
unbelievable situation that we're devoting the attention we are to Social Security when people will draw 100% of their benefits for the next 50 years. And after that, they'll draw 80% of the benefits. Sure, we want to do something, take care of things in the out years, but this is not what the president's up to. He's up to diverting attention from the real problems. He's up to his boys, I shouldn't say it that way, his friends who have been around for 40, 50 years trying to destroy Social Security. That's what this is all about.
AARP came out against the president's plan, and now the same people that were behind the Swift Boats for Truth campaign are going after AARP. Have they now become the president's hit group?
Well, they have done a pretty good job, and I think that all we have to do is look at the facts. I mean, I gave a speech down the state legislature. Paper the next day says that the state treasurer, Krolecki, and Bill Raggio love the president's plan. What is the president's plan other than privatization and cutting benefits? They better be careful. They better have some facts before they support the president's plan, especially I would think someone that has some desires of running statewide. Social Security is the most successful program in the history of America, social program, probably in the history of the world. And why people would even consider destroying it is beyond me. Now, I think we have to do things as a country to improve savings. That's important because any successful retirement, you need your personal savings, you need a pension, and you need Social Security. But the problem is about 60% of the people in America today have only one, that is Social Security. And it is something that has worked so well, and I think we should be very careful before we tamper with it.
Senator, we've polled readers from the Reno Gazette-Journal to ask you questions today, and some readers have questioned the retirement plans for the Congress and the senators. It's their impression that you roughly draw your salary for life after you leave office, no matter what age you leave office, and they're wondering, well, if the senators and congressmen were on Social Security like the rest of us, then there would be no tampering with the system, and we wouldn't have this problem we have now. Are they right that you roughly draw your salary for the rest of your life when you retire?
Well, they would have been right about 25 years ago. But starting in 22 years ago, starting in 1983, we started paying into Social Security. Members of Congress pay into Social Security, and they have for 22 or 3 years. We have a retirement plan that certainly doesn't give people the benefit of their salary, but if it vests after a very short period of time, we have a program that's better than a lot of retirement programs, and there's no question about that. And I think that's a concern that a lot of us have. I think that, for example, we have now 45 million Americans with no health care. I think it would be good if they had a health care plan just like I have, where I have Blue Cross Blue Shield, you can opt into other programs, and my plan isn't perfect, but it's certainly better than most people have. And I think we should look toward a program that gives people health care like we have. I think it would be good if we worked so that we had the ability for private accounts like we have. We in the federal government, not just members of Congress, we have the ability to divert some of our income, and it's matched by our employer, the federal government. That is to put money aside. There are some employers in the private sector do that, but not many. And I think, that's why we need to, as I said early on, that we need to do something to improve savings. And I think the model that federal employees have is something that we should look to for everybody in our society.
Okay, now in 1999, according to some readers, they had seen clips of you and clips of then President Clinton saying that the Social Security system was in crisis and needed to be fixed. The readers wonder, now that President Bush is has a plan to fix the system, you're opposed to it. They see this as flip-flopping by the Democrats. Do you agree with this, sir?
Well, I guess flip-flop was a good term they had in the last presidential election.
Right, and it's carried over to this.
They don't want to give it up. President Bush, when he was president, created an unusual thing in this country. We were taking in more money than we were spending. We actually were paying down the debt, the national debt, by about $500 billion.
Sir, you mean President Clinton, don't you?
What did I say?
President Bush.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Thank you very much. Yeah, during the Clinton years, we were paying down the debt. And that was so important to do that. And the president said he had two things he wanted to do with the excess money we had. One is pay down the debt, and the other is to strengthen Social Security in the out years. I agreed with him, and that's what I said.
Okay, let's take a break. Lots more with United States Senator Harry Reid, Nevada's own. We'll be right back on Nevada Newsmakers with Ray Hagar and myself after this.
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
Here at the Tahoe Reno Industrial Center, just 10 minutes east of Sparks, we are constructing a 16-mile expressway connecting I-80 to Highway 50. This expressway provides direct access and will make it much easier to get to work. A direct route for employment opportunities. From 100% fiber optics to clean, reliable power. Welcome to the Tahoe Reno Industrial Center, the largest industrial park in the world, building economic prosperity for Nevadans.
Since its creation more than a decade ago, the Southern Nevada Water Authority has focused on three goals: preserving water quality, improving water conservation in Southern Nevada, and meeting the community's current and future water needs. Through thoughtful planning, responsible management, and collaboration, it's succeeding. As we move into the 21st century, the authority continues to embrace sustainable water development and efficient water use. That's our promise to Nevada.
Many of the materials we rely on every day come from the ground, and modern mining technology brings them to us cleaner and safer than ever before. To learn more about America's natural resources, visit nma.org, the National Mining Association.
Something spectacular has taken wing not far from Reno or Lake Tahoe, and never far from your mind. An escape of fine dining and legendary golf. Introducing the resort at Red Hawk. And at the center of it all, we've feathered our nest with new villas that have elevated Red Hawk to the status of a premier resort. The Resort at Red Hawk, a beautiful new arrival in northern Nevada.
And now, back to Nevada Newsmakers with Sam Shad.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, we again continue our conversation with United States Senator Harry Reid. Senator, are the President and you staking out positions at this point? Because the Republicans have just made this massive attack on you that they send out to millions of people. You have made it very clear that you're not losing any sleep over these attacks. And the talk is very strong on both sides. Are you just staking out positions and then you're going to start coming to the middle? And I mean both sides here.
You know, this is so interesting. During the first 4 years that the president was in office, we were waiting to find out when he was going to unite us. That's what he talked about when he was first elected. He wanted to be a uniter, not a divider. That was like Orwellian double talk. You know, we simply had no uniting. during the first 4 years. He called me the day after the election when it was determined that I was going to be the new leader. And he said, I don't have to run for re-election. I think we can do a lot of good things together. I'm still waiting for that. There's so many things we can work on together. Bill Frist, who's my counterpart, he's a Republican leader. We get along very well. I called him this morning. We have the greatest respect for each other. And we're trying to work through all this. But we're not getting a lot of help from the White House. I know he can't say that, but I can say that. We have things that we need to do. We've done this class action bill. It wasn't something I liked, but it was something that I knew all I could do is stall it for a long time. And that had been done for 6 years, and I thought that time was over and we should move forward with it. We're now going to work on bankruptcy bill. Very important bill for a lot of consumers, for a lot of people in the business world. We're going to work together on that. Frist and I have an arrangement how we're going to get that thing done. So he and I want to work together. But the people surrounding the president don't seem to have that. It's take no prisoners. A good example. I select by law someone to go on the base closing commission. Now, I frankly have always been a supporter of closing more bases. I think we have too many. I appointed Congressman Jim Bilbray, who served in Congress for almost 10 years. He was National Democratic Committeeman. He's served offices all over the state of Nevada. I got word from the White House they weren't going to approve him because he'd criticized the president. Now, come on. National Committeeman, a member of Congress. I think he probably did criticize the president a time or two, but that doesn't mean he can't fulfill that commitment. So I went to John Warner, who's the chairman of the Armed Services Committee, who's a good friend. I like him a lot, senator from Virginia, a real gentleman. And I said, John, you better take care of this or I'm going to hold up what's going on here. This is pettiness. And I'll do that. I will do what I can to mess things up if he doesn't work to allow Congressman Bilbray to be a member of this commission. Does he want a bunch of cheerleaders on this commission, or does he want people who are bipartisan to work toward the right thing for this country?
Quick follow-up. Are any bases in Nevada under consideration for closing?
I don't know. But if they are, that's the way it is. I believe that military bases are not economic development programs. They're for the security of this nation. That's what they're for. And if there's a base in Nevada that's subject to be closed, then I believe it should be closed.
What about the closure of bases, what it does do to local economies? Any city that has a base nearby would be devastated if that base were closed.
Well, we've closed a lot of bases. That's part of what goes on. Military installations are not economic development programs. And if we feel that the security of this nation is not well served, then we should move forward. I put my legislative record where my mouth is. Early on, we developed a stealth airplane at a secret base near Tonopah. Well, when the stealth came out, there was no longer any need to keep that base, so that base closed. The airplanes were put in Nellis. The Pentagon made a decision that they were going to move these airplanes to New Mexico. I held them up. But I said, if the General Accounting Office will quickly take a look at this, and they find it's going to save the country money, and it's going to be good for the security of this nation, then I'll let my so-called hold go, because I could have held it up.
And you revealed that the first time on a radio program with me.
They came back and said that's better for the country. I said, fine. That's how I feel about it. Huh?
Senator, one of the other questions from a reader was, is there any thought to limiting advertising of drug companies? People feel that when you advertise for Celebrex or Vioxx or Viagra, it almost creates a false market for it, because people go to their doctors and say, hey, I need this, I need that.
Well, let me tell you, I may be a little old-fashioned, but I think some things have gotten way out of hand. I think these lawyers' advertising is absolutely ridiculous. I mean, some of these guys don't know the way to the courthouse, and they're advertising. And I think that these drug companies are in the same category. I mean, they make huge amounts of money. And full pages in Time and Newsweek and People magazine every week that I read, I think it's ridiculous. I think that money should be put into research or something. Let doctors prescribe medicine, not me look at this stuff.
Well, wouldn't it take if they didn't advertise so much, couldn't they lower the price of these drugs? Many Nevadans can't afford their prescription
Ray,
medication.
I don't know how much a full page ad, and sometimes there are 3 or 4 pages in one of those weekly magazines, but but huge amounts of
Right.
money. And that's one of the problems we have in America today is the cost of prescription drugs, not only for senior citizens, for everybody. And the drug companies better be very careful. I think that they're really walking on what we call thin ice.
Do you think that Congress is ready to actually take some action on this? Because the whole idea of reimportation would just fall apart. If we were to legalize reimportation from Canada, we would wipe Canada out of their drugs in 5 minutes flat. So that isn't really the solution to the problem. Isn't the problem the government stepping in and saying, okay, you're allowed to make a reasonable profit, but not an obnoxious profit?
Sam, I think we have to be very careful setting prices. I'm not a big fan of that. And I would say that Canada may not be the answer to all of our problems, but it is an answer to our problem. And I think we should move forward on reimportation as quickly as we can.
Okay, and that would be a warning shot across the bows, though, to the drug industry, wouldn't it?
Sure would.
We'll be right back on Nevada Newsmakers. More with the Senator after this.
Nevada Newsmakers, brought to you in part by Sunbelt Communication.
If it's hot, it's here at the Pepper Mill. The Pepper Mill has over 500 of the hottest video theme slots. And with the $100,000 Winter Video Theme Slot Fest, there's no smarter time to play these winning machines. Win your share of the money with $2,000 random cash giveaways every Monday and $5,000 drawings every Friday. And new players can get up to $100 free play.
The slots that rock are at the Pepper Mill. Where are you winning?
Your best value in sight is here for you to see. From frames to lenses to eye exams, you're covered A to Z. Davis Optical, your best value in sight.
Davis Optical Centers, with 2 locations in Reno and Sparks.
Davis Optical, your best value in sight.
If you own a business and want to maximize your company's potential, join the Retail Association of Nevada. Our membership benefits include the Nevada Retail Network Self-Insured Group, providing workers' compensation coverage that can lower your rates. That savings can go directly to your bottom line. We are an effective pro-business organization that lobbies on behalf of our business members. The Retail Association of Nevada, protecting Nevada businesses for 35 years.
When you need a new employee, how can you be sure who you're really hiring? A background investigation by Employer Links will uncover criminal records, verify the applicant's education, check their credit history and Social Security verification. An investigation will research professional licenses and driver's licenses and let you know why they're unemployed. Hiring the right person shouldn't be a gamble. Call Employer Links. Employer Links, protecting your investment.
And now, back to Nevada Newsmakers with Sam Shad.
Back on Nevada Newsmakers, Ray Hagar and I are interviewing United States Senator Harry Reid today. The president's gone after the Southern Nevada Lands Act and wants to take the majority of the money and put it back into the federal Congress, or congressional pot, I should say. Is that a direct shot at you?
I don't think it's a direct shot at me. I think it's a direct shot at how terrible his budget is. This budget that he filed with us should be filed in the Library of Congress under the topic fiction. I mean, it doesn't include the cost of the war. It doesn't include the cost of his tax cuts. It doesn't include the cost of what he's talking about doing at Social Security. Even Republicans think it's a joke. It has no chance of passing. But one of the things he's done is trying to steal money from the state of Nevada. When we passed this law, Anson and I worked on a bipartisan basis to auction this land. Now remember, 87% of the state of Nevada is owned by the federal government. So we took a little bit of that so that the rapidly growing Las Vegas could grow a little bit and not have the land price go up so high. We didn't realize that the cost of land would just be exorbitant. The auctions brought us huge amounts of money. But there are so many things we need to do at Lake Tahoe, at Mount Charleston, Lake Mead. This is a rapidly growing state. And there is a federal law that he's trying to get around with sleight of hand, with something called reconciliation. I'm not going to go into all the details, but he couldn't do it ordinarily because it would take 60 votes. He's going to try to do it with a simple majority. And we've got all 45 Democrats that are supporting me in this issue. I'm 44 plus me. We need 6 Republicans. 6 Republicans to stop the president from stealing our money. That's what it's all about.
And do you have those votes?
Well, I'm not too good at hustling Republican votes, you know. That's not my job.
I don't know. Jim Jeffords might argue with you on that.
Well, he's not a Republican.
Not
Senator,
anymore.
what about getting Congressman Gibbons on board, other Republicans in our federal government?
Well, they're on board. You know, they say the right thing, but they need to help me get 6 votes.
Okay. Now, another issue that's coming up with the president, he wants to re-up all the provisions of the Patriot Act. Many of the Reno Gazette-Journal readers feel that the Patriot Act tramples their rights as an American. What do you feel the chances of President Bush re-upping all the provisions of the Patriot Act, which are set to sunset this year?
Well, I'd hope he can't do it. There are things in there that need to be changed. The Patriot Act was necessary when we passed it. We put a sunset provision in it, just like you said, because we didn't know the full impact of this, and it was really the right thing to do. As a result of that, we have to renew the act or it fails. And I think there are parts of it we got to get rid of. I mean, an example, these global positioning things they have in cars now.
Yes.
Well, they can listen to every conversation in that car under this act. I don't think that's the intent of it. And so I think that there are things that are simply overreaching and not the American way.
Let's take a break. We'll be right back with Senator Reid after this.
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
Those were very difficult times for my husband and I, finding the kind of long-term resources that we needed to continue his recovery and well-being. And it would have been much easier to have had a source that we could have called in one spot rather than calling friends, searching the internet.
One-stop access for caregivers, NevadaCareConnection.org.
And now, back to Nevada Newsmakers with Sam Shad.
Continuing our conversation with United States Senator Harry Reid, the minority leader of the Senate. You called for the president to come up with an Iraq exit strategy. Do you have any suggestions for him?
Well, I was very happy with the president and his trip. I think that he did the right thing by going to NATO and asking for help for a change. And he got some, not very much, but certainly it's a step in the right direction. We're going to have all those nations now training outside Iraq, officer corps. That's so important, and that should have been done a couple of years ago. So that's a step in the right direction. We have to do more to train the Iraqis to take over what's going there, and then we have to get a significantly more involvement of the European community and other countries from around the world, which we don't have. They've talked about this coalition, but that's in name only. It really hasn't done much. The only country that's really helped us has been Great Britain. And we have to develop a way of making sure that we stay on top of these 3 very powerful organizations, for lack of a better description, within Iraq. The Kurds, they have their act together. They are very strong. We have to make sure that they stay together as a country and don't try to break away as an independent nation. And then we have, of course, the Shias and the Sunnis, and that's an ongoing battle. And I'm not too sure that I am sure that we did not do the right thing when we came in and just dumped everybody. Now they're scrounging around trying to find some people that could help fulfill the leadership and the military and the police work. So the president has to come up with an exit strategy. I still don't think he has one. You know, he had a plan to win the war, not win the peace. That's been our problem.
But you don't have any specific suggestions for him as to
Well,
how we get...
I've given you the suggestions. I think there has to be a tremendous push and asking for help, not only with military but reconstruction within the country. We have appropriated lots of money. We can't reconstruct anything. It would blow everything up. We have to make, and I personally believe part of the program has to be the Iraqis have to start paying their own way. They're producing now 2.5 million barrels of oil a day, soon to be 6 million barrels of oil a day. I'm not sure the American taxpayer should be giving them everything.
Senator, some readers are concerned about charges brought against military personnel in Iraq, specifically Marine Lieutenant Pantano, who was charged with murder with defending fellow American soldiers. Your thoughts on that?
Well, this is something Governor O'Callaghan, before he died, talked about, that we have to not use these people as scapegoats. A perfect example is what's going on with this prison scandal. I mean, these prisoners were tortured. And these people who were being court-martialed, these low-level people, they just dreamed this up.
Where's the high-level court-martials?
That's my point. And so I think that a lot of people are being just simply used as scapegoats. And I think that we have to find out how this abuse came. I'm sad to report that it probably came from very, very high levels, as we've learned during the hearings that we had with Judge Gonzalez, and we recently heard with the new Homeland Security Director. In his emails, we found that the Justice Department was warned that what was going on with the Pentagon was brutal, it was torture, and it was not working. That what they had done with regular interrogation methods, the FBI, what they were doing, worked better than the torture.
We're going to take a break. We'll come back with our remaining moments with Senator Harry Reid right after this.
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
Here at the Tahoe Reno Industrial Center, just 10 minutes east of Sparks, we are constructing a 16-mile expressway connecting I-80 to Highway 50. This expressway provides direct access and will make it much easier to get to work. A direct route for employment opportunities. From 100% fiber optics to clean, reliable power. Welcome to the Tahoe Reno Industrial Center, the largest industrial park in the world, building economic prosperity for Nevadans.
Your best value in sight is here for you to see. From frames to lenses to eye exams, you're covered A to Z. Davis Optical, your best value in sight.
Davis Optical Centers, with 2 locations in Reno and Sparks.
Davis Optical, your best value in sight.
Back with our remaining moments with United States Senator Harry Reid.
Senator, this question comes from the Future Farmers of America advisor at Smith Valley High School in Nevada, home of the Bulldogs. And they're concerned because the governor's budget doesn't have any appropriations to further vocational and career education. Can you do anything at the federal level to help these people in Smith Valley?
Well, one of the things in the president's budget, he eliminates all federal funding for vocational education, a tragedy. Not every kid that goes to high school should go to college or wants to go to college. Vocational education is the means to advance in life. And the governor should have something in his budget, and we're going to keep things regarding vocational education in the federal budget. I guarantee that.
Okay. And they also want you to visit their high school.
Well, I,
Senator.
of course, have visited there. Smith Valley's a great place. I wish we had more time. I'd tell you about an outstanding thing that's affected my legislative life as a result of my last trip to Smith Valley.
Got about 20 seconds. Are we going to be able to save Walker Lake in this session of Congress?
Well, we're not going to save Walker Lake in this session of Congress, but we're going to save Walker Lake. It's an ongoing, long process.
You know, it's almost a goner now, Senator.
Oh, no, we're going to save Walker Lake.
Okay.
Thank you so much for being here, Senator. Always a pleasure to have you. You're welcome back anytime. I'll even give you my parking slot. We'll be right back on Nevada Newsmakers tomorrow. Actually, we'll be back on Monday. We'll see you then.
Thank you.